Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's head-to-head comparison, let's take a look at the 2025 Kia K4 GT line and the 2025 Volkswagen Jetta SE. I borrowed the Volkswagen from FOURR Volkswagen, so take a look at their website. That link is down in the description below. Let's move on to the starting MSRPs for both of these smaller size sedans. For the Volkswagen, they start at $23,000 versus $22,000 for the Kia. In today's review, this K4 is at $28,300 versus $28,600 for the Volkswagen. This Volkswagen is also powered by a 1.5-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic, and it pumps out 158 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque. This K4 has a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder paired to an IVT transmission, and it pumps out 147 horsepower, 132 pound-feet of torque. It is worth noting that the K4 does have an optional turbocharged engine, where the Volkswagen only has one engine option. Both of these models here are front-wheel drive. They have the same curb weight at 3,100 pounds. The Volkswagen is going to be able to do 0 to 60 in 7.1 seconds versus closer to 8.5 seconds for the K4. And then they have the same fuel economy at 29 miles per gallon in the city and 39 out on the highway. Now, as we work our way to the exterior styling, they have completely different looks. Up front for the Volkswagen, you'll notice that the Volkswagen badge is also the sensor for distance pacing. And then there's a large grille in the lower section with lots of cutouts, LEDs for the lighting, of course, with a nice thin housing to match that upper section running throughout. And then you have a similar design with that narrow look up top for the Kia. However, the headlights have a much different design to them, wrapping around that bodywork. And then the sensor for distance pacing is located in the lower section of the bumper, where there's a lot of gloss black for this model, and then some similar cutouts, just like in the Volkswagen. And then you have 2 lines coming down the hood versus 4 lines on the Volkswagen. And then working our way to the side, they both have a really nice design for the wheel. More of a two-tone look for the Kia versus all gloss black for the Volkswagen, but I think they both have a great look. Now you'll notice with the Kia, all of the fender flares and the side skirts are finished off in gloss black, whereas on the Volkswagen, you don't really have a fender flare. It's just more of the bodywork there, and then bodywork for the lower side skirt there. In terms of their side profiles, you'll notice there's a very crisp line for the Volkswagen that runs right through the door handles, versus on the Kia, it's a little bit more slim, and you only have one door handle because the rear doors are up on the top there. So it kind of hides it away, giving it a different design, of course, than having the normal door handles. And then in back, you have LEDs, you get a backup camera, and then there's some trim accents in the lower section. Now, both of these models do have remote start, so you can use the key fob for that, and of course use that to release the trunk as needed. Now, for the back of the Volkswagen, you have a good bit of storage. It's worth noting that you do have a spare up underneath where you can place some items, and you can even fold down the back seats. So that will give you a lot more interior storage. You do have a grab handle over on that right side too. And then for the Kia, you have a much different design with the taillight look. There's a backup camera, no parking sensors either for this model, but you do have a little bit more of a sporty rear end design with those fins in the lower diffuser. And this does have a control on the right side of the camera there to release this. And underneath the floor, you do get a spare with a little bit of storage, and you have the same controls to fold down the back seat. And then you do have a grab handle on that right side. So they have about the same amount of interior space behind the seats. And then working our way to the back seats themselves, interior is really nice for this model. You get storage, grab handle, release handle, and the window control there. And then a two-tone design for the leather seats. Now at 5'10", I have a good bit of space. You get one storage pocket. There's nothing in the middle here. You have this bulge right here, but you could easily have a foot on both sides. And then I have maybe a ½ inch or so of headroom in the back seat. So I could sit upright and ride around, be comfortable in this. You do also get an armrest with cup holder storage, and this has a 60-40 split, so you can't fold down the entire middle seat by itself. But you do have those large windows in the back here to help see around that pillar. Now, as we work our way to the K4, like I mentioned, the door handle is up top, so just a little bit different of a design, where we have similar controls, grab handles in a different spot, you get storage down below, and then a two-tone design for these leather seats as well. And then at my height, probably about the same amount of space, to be honest. You get a storage net on that passenger side, you get 2 USB-Cs and a little bit of storage with a similar bulge right in the middle. And then I have about the same amount of headroom, so I can sit upright, be comfortable right around town in the back of this. And then you have the armrest with 2 cup holders and the same split with the seats. So the entire middle section does not fold down. And then you have those windows here to help see around that pillar. Now up front, this particular model gets heated and ventilated seats. You have memory seating adjustments, all of the window controls, storage, Harman Kardon for the audio. You do get a power operating driver's seat with that same 2-tone design, and then a really nice design for the steering wheel. Now as we start this up, this is equipped with paddle shifters on both sides. You have some audio adjustments along with a favorites control. You have Bluetooth and phone controls, and then all of the cruise control settings on the left side. You can also use some of those controls to further go through the information within the gauge cluster. So you have a few vitals that you can monitor. It will also change when you put it into sport mode. So it basically just flips upside down versus normal to sport there, and it will turn red. So you have a few adjustments there. Now you also have the e-brake, traction control, a dimmer switch. You get 1 air vent there. And then with the infotainment system, it is a touchscreen system, so you can go through all of this information. You have climates that are fixed over on the left side. And then you do also have some physical buttons to further get through this system. So you can use all of these as needed, just depending on what you need to get into. And you also have some physical AC adjustments down below. So you'll notice those will change up top, and you can monitor fan speed over on that left side too. Now you have wireless charging with a few auxiliaries down below, and then the backup camera, which has the guidelines. You can also shift using the shifter or those paddle shifters. You have auto hold, a shortcut to the camera system. You do also get 2 cup holders in the middle, so you can pop those out as needed or use that for extra storage. You get a little bit of storage in the armrest along within the glove box. And then up top is your rear view mirror, and then you have dome lights and controls for the sunshade and sunroof. Both of those are power operating. And then here's a look at visibility with the small windows in the back there. Like I said, you can see around that pillar. You have a little bit that you can see out of over that left shoulder. And then working your way to the Volkswagen now. This door panel is very nice. You have lock and unlock all of your window controls. Side mirrors are heated, and then you have some storage and a trunk release, and then you get an automatic driver's seat as well. And then this steering wheel has a different shape to it. It's a solid color. Start button is down below, just like on the Kia. Now this model does not have any paddle shifters, but you have all of your cruise control settings, distance pacing, volume, you have tuning, some phone adjustments, and then you can go through this digital gauge cluster just by pushing on the view icon. And then you can also go through this list here. So just depending on what you want to have front and center, it's about the same configurability as in the Kia. So it's nice that you can go through all of that information. Now you only have headlight adjustments on that left side. And then with the infotainment system, you have a lot of icons that you can go through. It is touchscreen, or you have some controls on the right side that you can use. And you can also get into some driving data, your vehicle status, you have your phone, your audio, you can get back to your menu here. So it's pretty configurable with some of this information that you can go through and monitor. You have air vents underneath that, and then all of the climate adjustments. Now this model only has heated seats. You have your fan speed, temperature dials, even a menu control, so you can look at that in the upper screen. You also get wireless charging with auxiliaries, and then in reverse, you have the backup camera with a few guidelines. You can also shift using the shifter, so that is the only way to do that with this Volkswagen. You have the e-brake, engine start stop, even an eco button. And then you have 2 cup holders, a little bit of storage. You can place your phone, a deep storage with an auxiliary in the armrest, and then plenty of storage in the glove box. Now you do get garage door buttons underneath the rear view mirror. There's all the dome lights. There's even a sunglass holder. And then in the Volkswagen, this is manually adjusting. However, you can actually have this closed with the sunroof open. You cannot do that over on the Kia. So you can have that open experience and a little bit more shade from the sun. So either way you want to do that is very nice. And then as far as visibility goes, about the same over both shoulders. You might be able to see a little bit more out of that rear cargo window over the left shoulder. But with the exteriors and interiors wrapped up, let's get both of these smaller size sedans out on the road, see how they drive. And so we'll start off behind the wheel in the Jetta. We'll give it a small acceleration. And using the shifter down below, seems like a good bit of power to get up. Now that was just a small acceleration, of course. This has a lot more potential than what I'm doing today, but it also has a lot more power than the Kia. I've been driving the Kia around for a while, so I know that this is going to be much quicker, and especially with the 0 to 60 time that I mentioned earlier, this is going to get up to speed very, very well. So behind the wheel now, I have been able to drive Jettas a few times. I think this is a really nice option, especially for the price. You have a really nice commuter vehicle, basically, that's going to give you some sporty aspects to it. You don't have a ton of tech features, but it's nice what we do have in order to go through this information. It's also going to give you a really good size. And we have some very nice materials too. So for sub $30,000, it's a good option to consider with the amount of space that it has. It is very practical for its smaller size, and it seems pretty comfortable too. With a lot of the vehicles that I have been able to drive under 30 grand, this seems pretty much in line with those in terms of what it's going to feel like out on the highway, not having too much road noise or wind noise, anything like that. Seats also in a good position. I'm 5'10". I have maybe 2 inches or so of headroom, and it does go up and down. So you have that height adjustment just depending on the comfort that you need. So let's go ahead, hop into the K4. So behind the wheel now for the K4, I can step on this one a little bit more. So for reference, this has less power, less torque, pedal to the floor, touching the floor right now. And we are getting up to speed there. So it's going to be a little bit quicker, of course, in the Volkswagen since it does have a faster time. But like I said, I've been driving this one for a few days now. I really like the interior styling. I think for the price, it definitely has more of an upscale interior look to it. But as far as driving it goes, it's about the same as the Volkswagen. So it really just depends on which interior you like. I know a lot of people aren't a huge fan of these large screens, so you have more of the simplicity of the smaller screen in the Volkswagen, but you still get some of the tech features and benefits around it. So this has been a really nice vehicle to drive, very comfortable out on the highway, great for city driving too. Has plenty of space, roughly the same size as the Volkswagen. So you're going to get a really nice daily driver. You have the height adjustment for the seat too. So I have roughly the same amount of headroom for this model here. So back from the quick test drives now with the Volkswagen Jetta and the Kia K4, you can take a look at the full detailed reviews that we have made of the Volkswagen in the past. We had this K4 for a week, so I have a lot more driving time behind the wheel of this. Honestly, both of these are really nice vehicles. However, I do like more power out of the Volkswagen. And again, like I mentioned earlier, you can go with the Turbo GT line, which has even more power, about 190 and 195. So a lot more than both of these models behind us for a very similar price. Those start around $28,000. So of course with options, of course, that can cross 30 grand. But between the two behind me, I like the tech features and the styling for the interior on the Kia. However, I do like more power out of the Volkswagen, a little bit more simple, and you have some other creature comforts like that sunshade, which is much different, of course, than the Kia. So let me know your thoughts. Which model would you go with and why? If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.